Okay viewers, so let's get started with the English fluency bits. And before you take a start with all these English fluency bits, let me tell you one thing, that it is direly needed that you need to use them in your daily conversations with others. And if you're preparing for any sort of examinations like IELTS, like PTE, like TOEFL, or like any other speaking examinations where the speaking component is included, so it is important to use all these English fluency bits in your speaking part. Okay, so listen to them if it is needed, replay it again and again, and listen all the examples and all the things very properly, and try to use them as per needed. Okay, so let's get started. Okay students, the first English fluency bit is be that as it may. Be that as it may. Be that as it may. You can see this beneath this video. Okay, it's already written. Be that as it may. The meaning of this word is, even if how something is, then we are still doing something else. Even if that how something is, we are still doing something else. Even if how something is, we are still doing something else. Be that as it may. For example, well, the weather is looking so crappy today, one of your friends says. And then you're replying that, be that as it may, we're still going running today. Be that as it may, we're still going running today. So the meaning of the be that as it may is, even if how something is, even if how something is, then we are still doing something else. Okay, let's take in one more example. Be that as it may, let's take one more example. Well, I'm not prepared for the exam, the student says. The teacher says, the teacher replies, be that as it may, I'm going to take your paper today. Got it? So these are some of the examples, and these are the meanings of the be that as it may. So listen it again and again, try to practice them, and try to use them in your daily conversation. Okay, so I'll come up with the next English fluency bit. Till then, take care. Okay students, the next English fluency bit is as opposed to. As opposed to, right? Contrary, it means the contrary, or against, or instead of, right? As opposed to. As opposed to, it means contrary, instead of, or against. Okay, so it is just like as opposed to running, I like swimming. As opposed to running, I prefer swimming. As opposed to running, I would like to go for swimming. As opposed to, contrary, or against, or instead of. Okay, like you can even use it in a different aspect, like I prefer swimming to running. Rather than running, I prefer swimming. Rather than running, I prefer swimming. So instead of speaking into a very complicated manner, though they are not at all wrong, they are absolutely right, but we can use it in a much more like in a functional manner. Okay, like in a speaking way, the way the American speaks, the way the real English speakers speak it. Okay, as opposed to, meaning is instead, against, or contrary. Like, as opposed to swimming, I prefer running. Or as opposed to reading, I prefer watching. So as opposed to reading, I prefer watching. Like that. Okay, you need to speak it in a bit faster way. Got it, students? So as opposed to. See you. Well everybody, the next English fluency bit is to make a distinction between. To make a distinction between. What is it? To make a distinction between. That means to recognize a difference between two things. To recognize a difference between two things, right? To make a distinction between. To make a distinction between, to like identify the difference between two different things, to recognize a difference between two different things. Okay, so to make a distinction between, right? I don't make a distinction between the government policies or the state one, right? I don't want to make a distinction between. I don't want to make a difference between. I don't want to differentiate between these two things. Okay, to make a distinction between. So whenever you are comparing two different things with their qualities, with their numbers, with their attributes and everything, so you need to use this word, to make a distinction between. I don't want to make a distinction between the private and the government education. I would like to make a distinction between the computer and the internet, right? I would rather make a distinction between like a mobile phone and the analog phone, right? I would prefer to make a distinction between the old and the new technology. So, to make a distinction between, to identify or to recognize the difference between two different things. Okay, students? To make a distinction between. Okay, so the next English fluency bit is be synonymous with. Okay, be synonymous with. The word synonymous sounds quite cool. Okay, the word synonymous, right? Be synonymous with. It is basically derivated from the word synonym, which is like having the same meaning and having the same expressions. Okay, so the expression is, the phrase is, be synonymous with. Be the same or be equivalent or like that. Okay, be the same or like to be the same or be equivalent. Be synonymous with. Well, the children are quite synonymous with the idea of being angel. Well, the idea of computer technology is synonymous with the AI. Right? I would rather term the computer technology as a synonymous with intelligence. Right? And I would rather say that, I would have rather said that artificial intelligence, but it's a far different thing. Okay? So be synonymous with. I would like to attribute my personality synonymous with Einstein. Well, it's not right at all, okay, but just an example. Okay, be synonymous with means like to be the same or to be equivalent. Okay, I would like to term the Pakistani culture synonymous with Afghanistan culture, or I would like to term Pakistani culture synonymous with the Turkish culture, right? Because all these three countries are the Muslim countries, so we can compare them with each other. Okay, so don't take it politically, of course. Okay, so be synonymous with. The word sounds so cool, right? So ready for the next. Well, that's all for now, students. And there are so many other English fluency bits as well. So I will bring them all time to time in front of you. Okay, so till then, stay tuned and keep watching and keep learning and keep making your IELTS and all the other examinations scores excellent. Okay, till then, bye-bye.